Okay guys, part 3 of building a shed in my backyard. I apologize, it's been a few weeks and I just kept forgetting to take the video, and then when I thought about it, my battery was dead on my phone. So here we are. The last one, I hadn't put the floor down yet, and as I was saying before in part 2, I went with this Advantech, which has a supposed lifetime warranty. It has a lot of epoxies in it, and there's a lot of tests on it to confirm that it is not water proof, but water resistant to a pretty good level. So this is stuff you can put down. If it gets wet a few times, it isn't going to hurt it. So that's what I would recommend. It's 3/4 tongue and groove. The one thing I will say about it is that the 4 foot by 8 foot sheets, the 48 inches, which is the measurement, that is with the tongue. So when you put two pieces together, you don't end up with 8 foot across, which this shed is 8 by 12. So as you can see, it's a little inset. I don't know if you can see that or not from my plywood. I split the difference up. Doesn't matter, the walls set on top of it, and it's not that much to cause a problem on something small like this. Anyway, that's what I went with. And then I went ahead and studded everything up with 2x4s. I didn't make this a full 8 foot ceiling, but it's pretty close. I wanted a taller shed. I'm 6'3", so I wanted a taller shed. I think they look nicer, and I went with good 2x4 construction completely. You can see I've got a top plate on as well. And when you do your top plates, you want to overlap those the opposite way of the bottom plate, which is the top of your wall. You want to tie those corners in, which really makes it stout. And a lot of the sheds that you see, they don't really even put corners in like this. Now, if you were drywalling, you would put another stud here, right here, split that so you had a corner. But I'm not drywalling, obviously. It's just a tool shed. I was able to go to a local Amish manufacturer where they manufacture sheds, and I got windows. I ordered windows for this, which I have them now. They're small windows designed just for these things. They're 50 bucks a pop. Sliders, they have screens, and they're small, but I think they'll look good here. I wanted to convey the edge of the house. When you're looking at the house, this runs straight up in line, and I'll back up here and show you. I was trying to keep everything and almost make it look like the house was longer than what it is. There you can see that I'm in line. I just set it back a foot or so. That was the plan. Anyway, the windows, I also ordered and received little raised panel shutters for it that I will paint the same as this is the garage side of my house. So they're like a dark blue, and this is going to get siding the same as the house. It's pretty much a clay color. Let me see what else I got going on here. I've been doing all this myself, so it's very difficult, even on a small shed. It's much more difficult to build when you don't have somebody else to hold the ends of the lumber. You can see I did the ladders on the gable ends. And this is how my father always taught me how to do them on a house. It's probably overkill for a shed, but that's what I went with. And 2x6 fascia boards. Some people use 3/4 by 6. My father actually did that before, and we found that they're a little flimsy. And I don't think it's any more expensive to go with the 2x6s, so I went with that. And as you can see, I put my all my trusses. I made those trusses, by the way. That's something else I'll touch on here. When I put this up, I was going to go with the exact same pitch of my roof of my garage, which it's a 5 pitch, 5/12. So it goes up 5 inches for every 12 inches in. Anyway, I went ahead and did the first truss myself, and I put the 5 pitch on it, and I put it on the building, and it only came up about 2 foot above the wall. And it just didn't look right because, and I hadn't given it any thought, this building's only 8 foot wide, so you only have half of that, 4 foot, for it to run up on that 5/12 pitch. It didn't look right. So I changed it, and I went up, and I actually have a 7, I think it's about a 7.3 pitch. And basically what I did was, it ended up being like a 32 degree, which is really close to what I have on my miter saw, which it has a detent at like 30, I think it's 32.2 or something. So I just used that detent, and it comes out to about a 7.5 pitch. But I think that looks a lot better as far as the angle of the roof and the overhang than what the 5 pitch would have looked. I think the 5 pitch would have looked silly. So, getting back to the ladders that on the overhang here on the gables, you can see how I did that. All I did was sold some 5.5-inch long pieces and toe-nailed them in top and bottom. Actually, I'm using screws for most everything. I have a thing for screws. If I can use screws, I like to do that better because it's a lot easier to take apart if you mess up. Anyway, and then I put long screws in on the inside, up the gable end, to pull them in tight. And that's how